Good morning and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damola Okunshaki and I'm with my co-host
Precious Chukwudi.
And of course, here on Today in the News, we read and give in-depth analysis on some of the stories making waves across Nigeria. Precious, how was your day yesterday? I missed you. I think I just had to do it alone without two guests. But of course, let's start with the front page of Vanguard. And here we have Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC contracts. Senators up in arms against Akpabio. Minister's submission is cheap blackmail, says Senate. And the riders, Senators manager Nwamboshi, battle Akpabio Ojogbon. I don't know anything about contracts, just came to NAS in 2019, says Tunji Ojo. Niger Delta Minister, IMC diverting attention, NYCN. Groups mobilized for massive protest in 9 states. Protesters demand Akpabio's resignation. Don't scrap NDDC. Urubu Groups warns federal government. And you can see more of that on page 5. Lagos records 180 new infections as confirmed cases rise to 41,180. And you can see more of that on page 28. Moving on to other stories on page 14. We have a federal government names railway stations after Oshibaju, Jakonde, Tinubu, and others. Defilement, appeal court affirms 60 years jail term of Chrisland School supervisor. You can see that on page 11. And on page 8, we have COVID-19. Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, kicks as federal government reopens schools August 4. WASSCE starts August 17. Federal government extends its lockdown by 1 week. And you can see more of that on page 7. Still on page 7, we have Nigeria sinking ship navigated by pirates, and that's coming from Okoje. And on the stories above, we have Oshomole on his knees begging for forgiveness, I'm using, and this is coming from PDP. I resigned from Edo State Oil and Gas Producing Area Development Commission to support Ize Yamu, and this is coming from Odigye. And on page 8, we have a Southern Kaduna total curfew as outrage mounts over killings. Inspector General of Police deploys special forces, intelligence operatives. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard, you have United States Embassy resumes visa operations in Abuja. And you can see more of that on page 7. From the front page of Vanguard, we move straight to the Punch newspaper.
And on the Punch newspaper, we have main headlines. NUT insists on PPE, others as SS3 pupils resume August 4th. The riders, WASSCE starts August 17. Teachers Union undertakes to monitor schools. Only COVID-19 protocols compliance exam centers will reopen, says Minister. And stories above, we have banks non-performing loan now 1.2 trillion naira, says CBN. You can see more on that story on page 17 and on page 18. Buhari names railway stations after Awolowo, Oshibaju, Tinubu, others. And on page 22, DSS alleges planned subversion threatens clampdown. And stories beneath, we have Dogara should have discussed contract fraud with Bauchi governor, PDP says. You can see that story on page 13. Also, man sentenced to life imprisonment for defiling a 86-year-old girl. That story can also be seen on page 11. And still on page 13, you can see my deputy of no importance, I will win his local government, says Akeredolu. And subscriber accused Lagos real estate firm of scam. You can see that story on pages 4 and 5. On page 11, Ekiti Attorney General, other cabinet members test positive for COVID-19. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, reopen Funshaw Williams' mother probe, body judge tells Buhari. That story can be found on page 11. And that's all I have on the Punch newspaper.
Okay, and that's all we have on the front pages of the papers. That's on Vanguard and Punch. We're going on a short break, and when we return, we'll be analyzing some of the stories with you. Stay with us, we'll be back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's still today in the news on Vanguard Live. And we've reviewed some of the front pages of the papers like Vanguard and Punch, and now we're going to the analysis segment. And of course, I'll be starting with that the front page of Vanguard, and that's NDDC contract. So, four lawmakers listed by Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and Executive Director project of Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) as benefiting from contracts awarded by the commission yesterday, accused the minister of blackmail, daring him to produce evidence. Legislative assistant to Senator Nwaboshi, Awele Onokwa Senior, who reacted to the 53 contracts listed against his boss, said the level of inconsistency of the minister is quite alarming and legendary, and Nigerians can see the desperate but failed attempt by them to cover their tracks, but then lies have short legs, and they don't travel far. And also, Senator James, in a statement, said ever since his tenure as chairman of Niger Delta Committee ended in 2015, a quote says, "I have never visited NDDC headquarters in Port Harcourt or any of its branches." End of quote. End of quote. Meanwhile, hundreds of Nigerians and women drawn from the 9 states of the Niger Delta yesterday staged a peaceful protest to the headquarters of NDDC, demanding the immediate resignation of Senator Akpabio. So that's all on the Niger Delta story. It's just interesting that we're seeing things coming up. When people saw so that he released the list of the contract people that said he awarded contracts to, like one of the senators said, I think 73 and 153 and all that. People are now asking what of the companies and all that, and we have them coming out saying that that it's not fair. One of them said, I think one senator said that he's just trying to cover up his lies. But of course, we know they're still going to bring up more things.
All right, we're moving on to Southern Kaduna. Total curfew as outrage mounts over killings, and the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Abubakar, ordered total enforcement of the curfew imposed by Kaduna State Government on Southern Kaduna following the orgy of killings in the area have continued to generate reactions from Nigerians from all walks of life. And we can recall that no fewer than 65 persons had been killed in the area within the period, prompting the Governor Nasir El-Rufai to impose the curfew, which did not deter the assailants, as 7 more persons were killed during the curfew period. The IGP, in a statement signed by DCP Frank Mba, our first public relations officer, said Kaduna State Police Commissioner should also ensure optimal deployment of human and material assets of the intervention squad currently on ground in the state to safeguard the lives and properties of people in the communities. And it's a very sad one to see how people are dying right now in Kaduna, and so it's now more like Kaduna killings. I remember one celebrity, Joel, the guy that everybody likens, look like Two-Face. He came out some few days on his Instagram page and was saying that they are looking for his father and that they can't find his father. Next thing, after like a day or so, he came out and said his father has been killed. So it's really sad of what's going on in Kaduna. We hope that they can equally start to focus in that region, and because insecurity is a very big problem for us
very
in
big
the country.
problem in Nigeria. Talking that we're still battling, we're still talking about COVID-19 and still talking about corruption and insecurity. It's really, really a lot. So moving away from that, let's go talk about Edo, politics in Edo, and that's Oshiomhole. So WASSCE, the Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) said that it was amusing seeing the former national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, that's APC, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, kneeling down to ask for forgiveness for supporting Governor Godwin Obaseki in 2016. So the Edo State Publicity Secretary of the party, who addressed the journalists in Benin, said that the show by the former governor of Edo State was aimed at winking Edo electorate ahead of the state's governorship election slated for September 19, 2020. He said that this will fail as Edo people were now wiser, saying that Oshomole's campaign against Ize Iyamu in 2016 is still fresh in the mind of the people. And also, he added that Edo people cannot trust the APC and Oshomole because they later had, during the 2016 Edo governorship election, disparaged and publicly campaigned against APC candidates as Ize Iyamu. In his words, quote, says, Oshomole cannot now say he regretted supporting Mr. Godwin Obaseki during the 2016 election and canvassing support for the APC candidate, end of quote. So I think this is the politics going on in Edo. We've seen a lot of people coming out. I think yesterday I saw someone commented on social media, on the Facebook, and it was like, what is just going on? It's so funny, and it's just hoping that they'll be able to, before the election date, the two parties will be able to decide and just make amends to what is going on, instead of us seeing this party these days talking and the other party also the next day, lambasting the other party.
Okay, so let's just take some comments on the page. And this is from Ben Fortune Akinyemi. He says, Nigeria is such a comedy haven. The politicians are only making foolery of the poor masses. There is no saint amongst them. They are all the same. Elsewhere, curfew declared in Kaduna South can't be forever. I have lost count on curfews declared in the past, yet killings are getting fiercer. We need a permanent solution to the unwanted killings. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning to you. And this one is from Chima Hogan Nadi. Says denial alone is not enough. Sue the Honorable Minister of NDDC in the Court of Competence Jurisdiction and press for charges. You would think he's lying. This is a serious matter because it was said on national television. Now, if you do not sue him, we will discard your argument as false and demand for mass protest in the National Assembly. And this one is asking, please, when let's the WASSCE start to, well, it's starting on August 17th. And someone else says, before I make any comment, please off the mic. This is so funny, but let's move on. And let's see this one. This is from Uchechi Caleb. Says, which Buhari named Oshibajo, Tinubu and Fashola, after which the railroad they are still this is not really clear, so let's take another one. And this is from Luca Marine. Says, for the Kaduna South, El-Rufai imposed curfew and yet citizens are being killed. Who is killing who? And this one is from okay, so I think that's all we can take for now. So moving on, subscribers accuse Lagos real estate firm of scam, and some subscribers have accused the Lagos real estate company, Brickwalk Global Investment Limited, of running a fraudulent scheme after paying millions of naira to the firm for the purchase of plots of land which have not been allocated 5 years later. And it was gathered that the company's marketers approached the victims to subscribe to the scheme by paying in installment or outright on the agreement that after the payment had been completed, they would be allocated their respective plots of land. However, after completing the payment, it was learned that efforts to get the management of Brickwalk Global Investment Limited to allocate lands to the victims to commence construction, they don't run away. So it's really sad how much people who are like, okay, we want to invest our money into buying real estate, so that of course, how we're talking yesterday, and we're talking of how much buying property here in Nigeria will be more lucrative for a fellow Nigerian person than maybe someone who is in the abroad. You will not even think of buying properties. You just think of, okay, let me just be paying small. Of course, their houses are more on mortgage, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, this money I have worked for, this is what money I've been working for a long time. I want to put some of this money into real estate, because I'm hoping that whenever I want to retire, this would give me more money to do whatever kind of business I want to do. And then you now find out that the real estate company that you've been spending your money in, it's fake. There have been reports like this. So there's some other real estate companies that have come out and say, oh, buy land, or buy for 100K, and people are wondering what's going on, and then they carry their money and then invest in these things. Some people don't even see these properties. They tell them how the land is in one place. Like
you just need to be very, very.
They mention all these places, and some of people are like, we can't go there. And some people buy this land based on trust.
Yes.
I mean, I trust you well enough to know that you will not dupe me. And they find out that, okay, come and show me my property. They can't see the land. So it's a very sad. I think it's very important that if you're out there and you're thinking of investing in real estate, you need to know what company to put your money in. Don't just follow the bulk of come and put your money here. You need to do due diligence on what you're trying to invest your money in. It's very important.
Yes. Okay, so away from that, this is on front page says defilement appeal court affirms ex-Chrisland supervisors 60 years imprisonment. So the Lagos State Division of the Court of Appeal Monday affirmed the 60-year jail term imposed on the former supervisor at Chrisland School, and that's Adegboyega Adenikon, who was convicted of confining a female pupil of the school aged 2. Adenikon was convicted of the offense on October 24, 2019, by Justice Nwaka of the Lagos State Special Offense Court in Ikeja. Displeased with Justice Nwaka's verdict, Adenikon had, through his lawyer, Mr. Olatunji, approached the Court of Appeal seeking to overturn it. But the three-man appeal court panel, led by Justice Mohammed, dismissed the appeal for lacking in merits. The court affirmed the 60-year jail term imposed on him by the High Court, and the court upon his however, in the judgment delivered on October 24, 2019, Justice Nwaka pronounced him guilty. The judge said with 7 witnesses, including the 2-year-old victim, the prosecution succeeded in providing the charges against Adenikon. Seriously, this is really, really sad. 2-year-old. Sometimes you just wonder, you look at what is really going on. What is going on? This morning, I think I was showing you something I saw on social media where a security man, he was being beaten, and he was asked, why did you defile this girl? And they were saying, hey, the girl came to him, 3-year-old girl, the girl came to him and started kissing him. That the 2 times he tried it, the girl was kissing him. It was the girl that came to him, and she started kissing him. So he just decided to just go ahead with it because she was the one approaching him. Can you imagine that? A 3-year-old girl to an adult.
Sad one, because
who taught her how to kiss? That is the main thing.
It's every time when things like this happen, it just reminds us so much of how close to the end times we are, because a lot of things just really happen.
Really is.
And then you are sad because
look at this one now, 2-year-old, and still going to the court saying that they should overturn the judgments and all that. Seriously, I think
we need stringent punishment for
really, and they still need to be checked. I think sometimes we need to look at the mental, the people's health, their mental health in Nigeria. I think we don't really look at those things. Sometimes when you're going to a psychiatrist hospital or you're going there, they'll tell you, are you sick upstairs or what is going on? But sometimes it does not have anything to do with whether it's madness or stuff. There's just some things really, really going on, and we're not really looking at it. We are not taking it serious. We really need to start taking these things serious.
I think that as also parents and wards, you need to really take care of your children. I know you can't be everywhere where they are, but try as much as you can to just be the eyes and nose of your child wherever they are. It's very, very important.
Very, very. Okay, do you have more?
So let me take some more comments, and this is from Alan Pedro. Says, I know they will deny because all Nigerian politicians are criminals that believe in their own personal voyage God is watching you. And this one is saying, can Kaduna, okay, this is from Simeon. He says, can Kaduna be declared state of emergency? They should do that to help the situation. And this one is from Omo Mufe, says, thank you, Vanguard. Thank you too. And I think that's all I can take from now.
Okay. Okay, so I think we have more stories.
No, that's all.
Okay, that's all we have for you on today in the news. But before we go, of course, let's look at what Mr. and Mrs. are saying. And the first person speaking today is Mrs. And she says, dear, there's no cause for alarm. I just want an honest answer. Do you have a mistress? Yes or no? And Mr. replied, I want to live long. The answer is no. Thanks, Mr. for answering that. He of course wants to live long.
What man will say yes, I have a mistress?
That's just the best answer.
You know how they say that you need to be very careful about people who cook your food, serve you, especially your food. People who watch over your house, you need to be very careful about those people, because those people have your life in their hands. That's how it is for Mr. and Mrs. Like, imagine he just says yes.
No, some people you are just surprised. Okay, and the next thing is come and eat your breakfast. I'm not eating this. I'm not eating.
Even some men who like maybe their wives are suspecting that something is going on. When the woman cooks, they're like, I don't want to eat.
I don't want to eat.
My darling, eat now. I'm not going to do you anything. And the know it's like, no, I'm not hungry. I'm okay. I'm well okay. Because the man is really scared.
Okay, and that's all we have for you on Today in the News. You can always visit our website at www.vanguardnigeria.com to get more of our top stories and breaking news across Nigeria and also around the world. And also, you can like and follow us on our social media platforms that are showing on your screen. Have a lovely day. It's bye from me, Damlola Ogushaki, and from my co-host,
Precious Chukudi. Thank you for watching.